hooked my camera up to my cowrie shells so I could kind of be on live with the cowrie shells. So when I do a cowrie shell divination, there are three things that actually come in. It's the healing, which most people need a healing in a pattern, a relationship. There can be a variety of things: health, a job, career, your ancestors. Like it's unlimited possibilities. So there's healing, there is ritual or prescription, and there's also community. Because really, if you don't have community, whatever that looks like for you, healing can't be manifested. And it's having a relationship, not just with physical beings in community, but also the spirits of nature, of water, your environment, again, animals. There's so much, like it's endless possibilities again. But you have to nurture that relationship continually. Or like any relationship, if you don't nurture it, it dissipates. You have challenges, you have adversity, you have problems. So wake up calls come in a variety of ways. So I'm actually going to switch over to the cowrie shells and kind of explore those. And please let me know if I'm echoing, because even though I've muted my guest, which is my cowrie shells, I can still hear myself. But let me actually just go turn the volume down on my iPhone. Maybe that will help it. Okay, so I'm back now. And I think that worked. Okay, so cowrie shells tell a story. And the story for today, because I did this for today, every element in the shell has a purpose and it speaks a message. So, and every direction also has a message as well. So you always want to look for your ancestors and where they are. And the ancestors in today's spread are actually in the element of water. Water is, we need some, some reconciliation and some clarity and peace. We're not going to find our peace until we find not just our inner wisdom, water, and our peace, but we have to reconcile, the story and the grid line. And where the ancestors are literally on the line. So that tells me there's a block there. So we're not in the flow. So if I was going to do a ritual for today, I would definitely go to the water spirits and have that kind of a conversation within the water, whether it's flowing water, a lake, deep water. That would play out somewhere different in the shells. So just again, tuning in of what I'm seeing. So you always go, like, I always want to go to the ancestors first, the beings in the other world, find out where the world is in the first place. So our world, sometimes we get consumed by the word power and what power even is. To be a powerful person is to, to recognize and know your own inner power. Right now, people are playing with their power, but they don't understand that too much of it, you will come tumbling down. It's like having too much ego. So today, just looking at the spread, once you understand what that power is, I have to squish in here and stare at my shells on my computer screen. So bear with me. So there's a point where you can access with some integrity what's happening on our physical world. And the beings on the other world, we haven't nurtured them enough. You know, it, it's not activated. So the beings, they're there and they're waiting, but they're all kind of in a cluster, literally clustered together, waiting to open up the flow. And how do we get into the flow? Well, looks like today I need to go do a water ritual and have a conversation with the village people in the other world to clear up some chaos in this world, which is awesome, right? Because that is totally what's happening today. And a lot of people, I have a group I belong to. Everyone's always curious about the other side or the other world and death and, where do you belong? Well, you don't belong in the other world until you're called to the other world. You need to experience this world and get your inner guidance going by, your ancestors, angels, the greater spirit, whatever it is you attune to, but you also have to nurture that relationship. Most people only call on the other world and beings in the other world when we're in chaos in this world. So there's kind of a conundrum there because I feel and I sense that people don't call on the other world until, say, for an idea, you have a chaos of a hangover and you pray to God to get rid of the hangover and you say you'll never drink again. And then you drink again. So, you're not nurtured that relationship. I'm just using that as an example because I know I've been there, right? So again, when I look into the shells, I don't see a lot of activation in areas that actually, need to be comforted at all. But except for going to the water, and knowing nature is very alive and very active. There's a lot of discourse, people are afraid of change and adversity, the challenges, right? And the transition, we need a different perspective when we look at this with new eyes. The transformation and the change, it actually creates a better environment, literally in a home. It's just we can't see through the chaos what's in front of us. So the other world actually can assist us if we are open to nurturing those relationships and what that looks like. Also, there's a segue into the pathway of clearing this all up once we get obviously into our flow. There's just so much, it feels like the weight of the world is on us, but yet we don't understand that there's an unweightedness on the other side to help us in this chaos, the turmoil. And we're going to get more clarity once the transformation starts. But again, like I said, all the beings in the other world are like sitting in a cluster all together, waiting for us to go to them and have the conversation. And now, again, this isn't a one and done kind of thing. Once you start nurturing these relationships, it has to be in constant flow. You can't just do an affirmation, once a day, because you're only going to be affirmed once a day. So you have to literally get into the frequency of these other worlds and bring that element into this world. And you have to nurture those relationships. What else do I see here? Besides getting a higher perspective, creating a better home that's protected, mind you. We have to access this, the other world. Literally, we've really got to start tuning into the frequency of the other world. Again, whether that's the world of nature, of body, of mind, of spirit, of soul. There's so many, right? So for each individual, that is individual. It's our own inner spirit that we need to connect with. But generally nature, we don't connect with nature anymore as it is anyway. We're kind of all filled up with technology and plus the chaos that's going on in our world, right? Who else? So yeah, we're going to create even our, okay. Also I see, the platform or creating power, or it's also at a crossroads. So we have to disengage that as well. So yeah, so again, those three things, healing. I have to go look at that. What's the healing about? Also, what ritual or prescription am I going to do to help break up the cluster? And also, where's the community? Well, I got to reconnect for the universe, our earth plane, earth school, with the beings of the other world, which I've been doing so much lately. Maybe I need to meditate and just slow down myself, not do so many rituals, but there's so much adversity out in the world. Unsureness, I guess, is what I sense. I want to look for where in the spread we need to have some sophistication and possibly wake up to what is there. So hang on one second. I'm actually going to walk over to the table where I have my spread and see if I can see my bell, because it's almost like we haven't surrendered to the change that's in front of us. And, sometimes the suffering is in the surrendering of what's happening for and to us. But yeah, it's communication. Where? Okay, I have to go over there because I can't see it. So yeah, everything at the transition is actually, what's curious is we're in the spring, and we're waking up to this transition and this change. It's inevitable of what's happening, and the balance is going to come from community, and it's also going to come from getting clarity, to just kind of bust a groove. So for those of you that have tuned in, thanks for that. Thanks for joining me. But yeah, I'm going to be doing, it's called the BlockBuster. I'm going to be doing a BlockBuster on a live show, basically, invitation only. You'll be able to answer a question and join me live on my show. I'll either do a Cowry Shell Divination or I'll go just off of my intuition. I had sorry if I don't get your name, but somebody actually had they entered my questionnaire, my survey, and said they're having trouble with balancing finances. So energetically, I know first off and foremost, that's root center. That's also the earth star. So I would still direct this person to actually go out into nature and connect with the earth itself and the elements in earth. And also, have those questions about, do I feel safe? Do I trust this? Because I find, imbalances, I talked about chakra imbalances. The root center is like spending more than you need and kind of hoarding when it's out of balance. And it's also the extreme of not taking care of yourself because you don't feel safe. There's no security there. So in order to manifest in this reality, we have to be rooted in our root center and grounded in our root center. And the reason I bring up the earth stars, because we all ground differently into the earth plane. So it could be the water of the earth of the earth, the fire of the earth, the wind of the earth. So there's all of these elements that come into play, and we're all so unique that whatever we ground into, that's what makes us all fun and fabulous, right? So I don't always ground into the earth. Honestly, I hardly ever ground into the earth as much as I might ground into a fire or a star or even the wind, a tree. It just kind of, every day, the universe kind of guides me to my element to ground into. Just in nature, mostly in the physical world, but there's also nature in the other worlds, and it just looks different. And you have to kind of get out of your own mind to collectively have the conversation with what those elements look like on the other side. So for me, like we have a physical earth ocean, but we also have the ocean of the galaxy where all the stars are in there and the planets, and they have their own rivers and their own flow and their own corridor that's galactic, right? It's much vast and larger than the earth plane, and their own castles and beings and, you know, everything that's here is over there, just appears differently. So to nurture those things, so to manifest, you know, you have to breathe in through your crown. You have all these outer energetic centers, but coming down in through the crown and planting into your root center, and then from your root center, once you feel the rootedness, then you release it into the earth plane. And you have to continually do this. It's never like a one and done. You know, again, it's about nurturing the experience and what that even looks like for you. Um, and that's kind of how the cowrie shells play out, depending on the question that somebody comes in. We literally get in the way of our own magic sometimes, and the chaos, and also in our, you know, our ancestor lineages, our timelines. You know, maybe your ancestor was an asshole, and now you gotta, you know, clean up the cosmic clutter from an asshole ancestor. This shit is very real for me. I do that more often than not. I literally can just look into a timeline and know if it was Uncle Bob's buddy Bill and he promised him something and didn't align with the promise and kind of left it out there. So now somebody else got to clean that up. Those things are very real, and I work intuitively that way. I just think that's my my unique gift. I'm not sure how this happened for me, but hey, I got to trust in the village, right? So, with all of that, thanks for jumping on. I know this was totally out there. Tell me if you enjoyed it. I'm super excited, especially now that I know the camera setup I created worked. I still probably need to fix the audio part. I'm sensing maybe I'll connect again like my iPad, so I can literally go over in the other room, have the audio, do the shells. So I'll probably have 3 cameras on and kind of work it that way. But anyway, Inshalla Ashe, let me know if you like this, and be sure to tune in, check for your emails, because you're going to kind of have to register for the BlockBuster, mostly for the questions. So I can only answer so many questions on a fun day of a Sunday, right? So as always, Inshalla Ashe, and I will always see you on the other side.